Good morning, everyone. My name is Noemi Moico, a practice teacher under the supervision of Ma'am Beverly Joy Baliesta. We are now in Chapter 10, Grading and Reporting. Learning outcomes. At the end of this chapter, students should be able to explain the functions of grading and reporting, distinguish between criterion reference and norm reference grading, compute grades in accordance with the current DepEd policy on grading system, and cite points to observe when reporting students' progress to both students and parents. Based on the author's experience, both as a parent and as a school head, grades are very continuous. There is no card giving day where there is no parent complaint or question about a child's grade. So, yes, it is true. Every time that there is a card giving, we cannot deny the fact that there are a lot of parents who are not satisfied on their children's grade or on their students' grade. So that is why there are complaints we receive from the parents. So their complaints comes in these forms. The grade should be higher. It should not be a failing grade. Teacher does not explain well. Teacher did not accept a project submitted an hour or so after her deadline. Therefore, grading and reporting as a way of communicating assessment results should never be taken for granted. Yes, there is some instances that our children or the students got a failure grade because of lacking credentials, because usually students they are practicing the attitude of submitting their projects or their activity on the date of deadline or after the deadline. That is why upon making the grades, they got failed. There are 7 things to consider discussing with your students before assessing. Number 1, explain where the test fits in the bigger picture. So, any given test or assessment is just one piece of their overall progress as a students. Yes, there are just parts of a grades, the test or our examination is just one part of a grading system. So, your test or the results of your exam does not describe your overall outcomes of your grades. Next is share how the test results will affect their overall class grade. So often students are unaware why they are being tested or why the teachers need data they are looking for. So that is why the teacher should explain what would be the result of the test or how does the test affect the grades of a child or a students. Preempt questions about what their data will look like and who will be seeing it. Depending on the age of your students, you should consider sharing with them what results you'll be receiving after the test, what results they as students will receive, and what will be shared with their parents. So dapat i-advance natin. So, parang bigyan natin sila ng pointers our what will be our giving test to the students. Next is take the fear out of the testing jargon. Words like evaluate, criteria, evidences, and scores can be scary for some students. Yes, every time that there is an announcement about tests or examinations or assessment, that is the time where students feel scary because yes, of course they will be having their study on their examinations or on during their test. Next is clarify the testing environment. Some students are less familiar than others when it comes to testing and how testing schedules can interrupt a given week. Yes, it should be a weekly testing. So sometimes there are teachers who uh, give test weekly or twice a week, once a week. It depends upon the announcement of the teachers or the rules of the teacher. Make any transition to computer or tablets easy. And third is a computer lab being used as part of the testing process. Yes. So if there is some some utilities on this schools, we should be allowed to use it free to help us on our assignments or tasks. We can work it easily. Provide the dates of the next assessment. When you explain growth over time to students, it helps to share a basic schedule of how the assessment will be administered. So, during assessment, uh, it must be assigned when, where, and how we are going to conduct the assessment. Functions of grading and reporting system. What are the functions? Here are the functions. Enhancing students' learning. So, the learning of the students will be developed or will be administered through clarifying instructional objectives for them. Showing students' strengths and weaknesses, providing information on personal social development, enhancing students' motivation, and indicating where teaching might be modified. Next is reports to parents or the guardians. Grading and reporting system also inform parents and guardians of students on the progress of their wards. Yes, of course, through grading reports, the guardians or the parents will be informed about the progress of their children. Next, administrative and guidance uses. The administrative and guidance purposes of grading and reporting consist in 1. Helping to decide promotion, graduation, honors, athletic, and eligibility. Okay, the grades of the students will help to decide whether students will be having an honors, can she or he will be graduated. Okay, so yan. Maging basis yung grades ng students. Number 2, reporting achievements to other schools or to employers. Your grades, yes, our grades will be used in our future applications or job hunting. If we have an higher grades, we can be easily admitted to any establishment or companies. Number 3, providing input for realistic educational, vocational, and personal counseling. Next, we have components of a grading system. Number 1, standards of comparison. In relation to standards of comparison, the following questions are asked. So, if there is a comparison, these questions will be asked. What standard for comparison will you use for grading? Will you compare a student's performance to other students' performance? Or will you compare students' performance with a predetermined established standard? Or will you compare it to what a student is able to do? So, learning potential or self-reference. If we go outcome-based or competency-based, we will be for criterion reference grading. So, kung we are going to base on the outcome based or competency based, we will be using the criterion reference grading. The predetermined standards are the intended learning outcomes presented and explained at the beginning of every lesson. Aspect of performance. What is this? The second component of a grading system is aspect of performance. What aspect of performance must be graded? One group of educators claim only academic performance must be graded. So, educators say that academic performance must only be graded. This academic performance to be graded include, so yung mga quiz and the test results. Only paper and pencil tests, assignments, products, and performance to show processes learned. So, their examples are oral reports, yung projects, interviews, and portfolios. Number 3, weighing different kinds of evidence. So, how we are going to weigh? So, paano din timbangin yung iba't ibang klase ng mga evidence na pinipresent natin? This refers to how much weight is given to the different aspects or components of a student's grade. Like this one. So, components sa language, AP and ESP. So, we have here sa written work 30%, performance task 50%, quarterly assessment 20%. Sa science naman, ang written work is 40%, science is and math yan. Ang performance task 40%, quarterly assessment 20%. Sa MAPI, EEPP, and TLE, ang written work nila is only 20%, performance task is 60%, quarterly assessment is 20%. So, hindi sila kapareho ng percentage because the activities that they are going to execute on their subjects are not the same. So like for example, sa performance task, sa MAPI, yes, of course, pinaka-highest kasi yung MAPI, EPP, and TLE are more on activities. Then, sa exam, so, sa quarterly assessment, they are the same. Kasi pareho yan siya sa mga period of exams. Ayan. Next. An analysis of the tables given above shows that DepEd puts the heaviest weight on the performance task. Yes, as what I have said, sa performance talaga mas mabigat ang percentage. Why communicate assessment result? Bakit kinakailangan natin malaman ang result of our assessment? We document our assessment processes for accountability, institutional and individual memory. Documenting the decisions made means learned lessons. Assessment results that have been thoroughly discussed should be communicated clearly and accurately to learners as well as parents for improved learning. Yes. Kasi when we are going to know the development of our grades or are we a failure, are we pass, we can easily improve our weaknesses. We can learn where areas we are going to improve. Some pointers in communicating assessment results. So there are pointers to communicate on the results of our assessment. In order to effectively communicate our assessment result, we need to do the following. To establish learning outcomes related to what we are assessing. So, we need to know what is the component or what kind of the assessment we are going to assess. Document the process we use to assess the outcomes. Kailangan mayroon talagang documentation, no? Everything about the assessment. Tie the result back to our learning outcomes to communicate whether the program or services work as we intended. So, kailangan yung learning that during the process are appropriate to the assessment that we are going to assess. And take note of decisions made as a result of the assessment process. So, kailangan i-take note natin yon to know whether we pass or we failed. This is the essence of outcome-based teaching and learning. Yes, that is the essence of the outcome-based. Sa outcome-based kasi, doon natin makikita kung meron ka ba talagang natutunan si students during the process of learning. Giving feedback to students and parents after assessment. So, meron talagang feedback Number one, giving feedback is never easy. It is important that the feedback process is handled delicately. Yes, giving feedback is not easy, of course, because sometimes we can offend, or maybe the students can be offended. Masakit talaga yon, no? Masakit talaga sometimes to be criticized from our failure. Below are some points that can guide the teachers and assessors during feedback. So, guide ni assessors. A clutch which works effectively is to open the session with a positive feedback. So, kailangan si assessor should prepare a positive feedback, no, to be able to motivate the students, or uh, the the students or the learners that will be assessed. Know the expectation of the student, parent from the feedback session. It acts as a compass for the teacher as assessor. So, kailangan alam ni assessors or ng teachers what will be the feedback they are going to give to the learners. Be very specific and stick to the predetermined parameters or competencies to make reference. So, dapat specific. Wag ka nang lalayo pa doon sa kung ano lang yung appropriate na feedback na pwedeng ibigay doon sa na related or appropriate doon sa assessment. Cite examples whenever possible to help the students or parents understand better. So, yun, simple lang. Magbigay ng example para mas maintindihan ni parents or ng students ang gusto mong ipaabot or ang gusto ipaabot ni assessors. Involve the student-parent. Feedback has to be dialogue, not a monologue, which means that the student or the parent should be given an opportunity to discuss students, parents' aspirations, motivations, and experience of the assessment. So, both students and parents and the assessor should be involved. So, kailangan merong dialogue. Kailangan na pag-uusapan talaga ang learning ni students, saan ang weaknesses niya, and yung strength ni learners, and how they're going to motivate the learners. Be patient and display great listening skills to create the required trust and rapport with the students or the parents. Yes, it is very important that we are a good listener. So we can easily understand the learners. Bakit minsan failed sila, and ano yung kanilang mga needs. Allow the students or parents to explain the intent behind his or her actions and differing opinion whenever appropriate. Refrain from passing a judgmental statement. Your statements have to be suggestive rather than stated as absolute truths. So, yan. In giving feedback, wag tayo maging judgmental and masyadong magbigay ng negative critics or negative judgment. Reporting students' progress and grades to parents. Students' progress and grades are reported to parents through report card, parents-teachers conference, and written conferences. So, there are teachers na nagpapatawag ng meeting during card giving. So, through giving or the grades through report cards, parents or the guidance can assess whether her students are pass or failed. Report cards. What is report card? It is a standard method of reporting students' progress and grades through or to parents. Ayan. Parent-teacher conferences. So, according to Durham on 2006, asserts that parent-teacher conferences are both a responsibility and an opportunity. The education of the learner is the primary responsibility of parents. In this task of educating children, parents are assisted by the school. For the benefit of children, then it is best for teachers and parents to come together to discuss their children's progress. Yes, parents and the teachers talaga should have a good relation uh, in terms of children's progress or developing the children's skills. Yan. Okay, kasi uh, as parents, you are first teacher and the teachers are the second parents. Here are some reminders for schools or teachers to get the most from parent-teachers conferences. Announce the date for card giving in advance. Ayan. Yes, of course, teacher should announce the date, when and where she or he are going to give the card or release the card, or better still, the school calendar, which should be given at the beginning of the school year, must already include the dates for card giving and parent-teacher conferences. Parents are busy and can't just be there at the school's beck and call. Be positive and approach. Start the conference with something positive and maintain the positive atmosphere. So, si teacher should have a positive approach towards parents. Be objective. While you should be positive, be truthful and honest. Give an accurate picture of a student's performance in order not to give false hopes to parents. Yes, kailangan si teacher should be honest. What is the performance of the children or the students? Kasi pag mas natutukan yung weaknesses or yung strength ni students, mas nabibigyang pansin both ni parents and ni teachers. Have a listening ear. Act with empathy. Parents and our parents, they will tend to favor their children. So yes, of course, parents will always remain parents. Sometimes there are parents that even their children are not competent. They are pushing to uh, just to just to believe that her or your children, yeah, can be competitive. Don't project an omniscient image. You don't know all the answers to question. Refer the parents to the right person. Yes, that is true. Practice good communication skills. Communicate criteria for grading and have a dialogue, not a monologue, where the only one talking is you. Yes, of course, there is a communication skills. There is a listening and communicating. Don't talk about other students. The focus of the parents-teacher conference should only be the parent's child. Never compare the child with other students. And with an encouraging note, in the same way that you began with a positive note, it is not the end of the world. Why report and communicate assessment result? We document our assessment process for accountability. So, teaching leads to assessing learning, reporting, and communicating assessment result. This assessment result should be communicated clearly and accurately to learners as well as parents for improved learning. Okay, that would be all. I hope you understand our lesson for this morning. Thank you and God bless us all.